Here we go.
Well, welcome to the wake-up call this morning. We are so glad you're here. This is your friendly reminder this morning that all of these calls are recorded on zwakeupcall.com. You can go back and listen to all these fabulous calls. And I share that because we are in the book, The Little Things Matter by W. Todd Smith, 100 Ways to Improve Your Life Today. And friends, today we are on chapter number 53. And I wanted to share that because we are more than halfway through with this book. So just think about this for a second. Whether you're joining for the first time or you've joined everyone or you're trying to make a commitment, make this a habit and join, and maybe you've missed a few, the reality is that we have had now, after today, 53 of these wake-up calls. And I personally am so thankful for them just to continue to invest in my own personal growth. And I love it that we get to share with our friends and family. So don't keep this call to yourself. I want to encourage you today to share with those that you have in your life, just to come together Monday through Friday at 8:15 Central, 9:15 Eastern Time. And I believe that's 6:15 Pacific Time, I believe. And what a great way, like I said, to come together and just get on the personal growth train and start your day off this way. So like I said, chapter number 53, let's do this. It is titled, Invest in Your Relationships. One of the most important keys to living a happy, healthy, and fulfilling life is your ability to build and maintain meaningful relationships. There is solid scientific evidence that having friends can extend life. People with abundant social support develop stronger immune systems and are less likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, and the psychological effects of stress. Harmonious relationships with friends and family members are the fabric of our lives, the glue that binds, bringing us joy and meaning. If you want to build a long-term relationship, one that feeds and sustains you in the different areas of your life, be deliberate about the time and attention you give it. Contributing your time, energy, and effort into growing your relationships begin with a fundamental universal truth. What you give, you get back. When you show love, you receive love. When you show respect, you earn respect. When you smile at people, they smile back at you. When you show an interest in others, they become interested in you. When you are friendly to others, they are friendly to you. When you encourage others, they encourage you. When you do things for others, they do things for you. I like the way Tony Robbins explains this concept. Some of the biggest challenges in relationships comes from the fact that most people enter a relationship in order to get something. They're trying to find someone who's going to make them feel good. In reality, the only way a relationship will last is if you see your relationship as a place that you go to give and not a place that you go to take. If you want a relationship to last over a long period of time, you must offer value and meet the needs of the other person. It's a lot like a savings account where you make regular deposits, minimize withdrawals, and receive a return on your investment. Deposits into the relationship bank start with doing the little things to demonstrate interest and concern for others. Here are a few suggestions. Send an email just to say hello. I would add text, right? We're a texting world now. Send a text just to say hello. Call to see how someone's son or daughter performed in an activity. Send a card or email or text on a holiday or birthday to say you are thinking about them. Encourage them when they start a new project. Express appreciation through a thank you note or phone call. Compliment them for a job well done. Be supportive during times of struggle and grief. Jaimie, what do you have to say about this?
All right. Well, I think there's so much. Again, the little things matter, right? So as I'm listening, I can have friends and extends my life, and it boosts my immune system, which allows me to perform better in everything I do on a daily basis, and it creates a better family environment. So I don't know about you, but I'm all about being around longer to be with the people that I love. And so what you give is what you get back. So I have just a quick a perspective thing. I think, relationships are so super important and invest in them. And the most important relationship you can invest in is your relationship with our Lord and Savior, your Lord and Savior, your best friend, Jesus Christ. And so I think every relationship, it breaks down from communication, right? To be a good friend, to have good friends, you got to be a good friend. And so if you take that relationship where Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, he never changes. He's always communicating. He's always there for us. And how many times have we kind of slipped away, or you hear people say many times, well, I'm so far from, Jesus is so far from me, or I'm, all these things. I've gotten away from that. And I say that not to be convicting because it's from personal experience. If you take a perfect one, relationship is two sides. So you take one side that is perfect and you say, gosh, how many times have I kind of wandered or strayed or made a mistake and maybe not, done that relationship right, not communicated, not taken the time to listen. Then it can allow you to be relevant to say, well, if that relationship, how maybe have I impacted in other relationships and the key relationships in my life? And so I think, really I'm going to just turn it over to Holli, because one thing that he shared was this, in every situation, you just come into it and add value. And no one that I've ever known in my life does it better than my wife. I've watched her, I've learned from her to leave a room better than you found it. When you meet someone, to genuinely just give your full attention authentically, not with an agenda, just with an authentic love, to have God's love and to love everyone and to be that everyone matters, and to leave that person just a little bit better than you found them, to leave a room better than you found them. And I've watched my wife do this for ever since I've known her. She gets better and better as time goes on. And this isn't about Jaimie. This isn't about Holli. It's about, when we look at success, right, in life, success follows success. So you can learn from people who are successful. And this is one of the things that Holli is so very good at. I watch her do it. I learn from it because I need to learn from it. And she also is learning and getting better and very humble, but she is definitely the person to speak on.
That was so nice of you to say, Jaimie. I didn't know he's going to say all those awesome things. And, the one thing that I definitely want to share with you all, I've been thinking about this for a while, is if you're listening to these calls, and I guess I can only speak for Jaimie and I because it's our day today. I'm almost positive every single person that shares on these calls Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday would say the same thing. These calls aren't about us. We don't have this all figured out. We're not the end all be all, like do what we say and walk like we, walk and talk like we talk. We're on this journey with us. So we're all, together. We're all in this together. We're on this journey with you, is what I was trying to say. So never want you to get on here and think, oh, my gosh, these people have it all figured out. Trust me, we don't. We're learning just like you are learning as well. And appreciate your kind words, Jaimie. It's something that I always have in the back of my mind and in my heart, is make people feel important. And the reason is because they are. And that's very important to me, that other people know, what, I see you. I really see you, not with an agenda, not with any kind of ulterior motive. I just see you. And that's something that I learned from my mother. And when I read this chapter, I just couldn't help but think it was, I shared before about my father. And today I just, I can't help but share about my mom. And I think it's another way also that God might be just downloading to me that, the work you do as parents quite possibly could be the greatest work you ever do in your life. I know for Jaimie and I, it definitely is. And I've always said for years, motherhood is the ministry of availability. And my mom is the most available person I've ever met in my life. I know no matter what, my mom is available, and she's always been available. And I've always tried to, follow that. And she is a person that really taught me this, make people feel important, make people, feel like they matter because they do. And I can't help but think about this story I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to try to do it quickly because we don't have a lot of time. But I think it's such a great example of exactly what Todd Smith was talking about. So several years ago, it's been 11 years now, Jaimie and I, we lived in a really small home. We lived in a super small home. Jaimie could stand in our kitchen, and if he stretched out his arms, now he's got a pretty big wingspan, but if he stretched out his arms, he could touch the kitchen cabinets from one side of the room to the other. And we had a half bath, and it was me, James, and Jaimie. And then Charlie entered our life, which is such a blessing and a miracle from the Lord, because I was not supposed to have any more kids, so Charlie was just an absolute miracle child. And we realized real quickly, oh, my goodness, this house is getting super small. And we were always, probably for about a year, we were really just looking for our forever home is what we call it. Now, Jaimie and I, we did not want to build a house. We've already heard Cindy and Kirby's horror stories about that, so I'm glad we didn't go that route. But we decided we don't want to build a house. We didn't want to look at a new house. We just wanted something, I guess, that would just be old that we could work on and fix up together. And so we were looking for this house. We'd been to several homes and did the whole, tour. And we found a few that we thought, oh, man, maybe this is it. And I remember talking to my parents about this, and they were kind of in the hunt with us, and we wanted to stay around them because they're just important to our lives, and I didn't want to move anywhere. I wanted to stay in Ohio. And one day my dad called me up, and he said, hey, I think I found a house for you guys. And I'm like, really? He said, yeah, I think it's everything that you guys are looking for. Here's the address. Go out and check it out. And I'm thinking, this is great. This is awesome. So we get in our car and we drive out. We find this home in the middle of the country. I mean, in the middle of the country. If you've been to our house, you know what I'm talking about. You're probably laughing. Not even on the GPS. So in the middle of the country, and we pull up, and it is like, it's just everything we ever wanted. An old 1800s farmhouse, just beautiful, super excited. And so we go and we knock on the door. And this little old lady answers, and I'm like, hey, we came to look at your house, and we're so excited. This looks like something, we'd really like to, look in further. Can we come in? And the lady's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah, your house is for sale, and my dad told me. And she's like, my house is not for sale. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, my house is not for sale. And I said, well, my dad, she goes, I don't know where your dad heard that, but my house is not for sale. She said, do you see a for sale sign in the yard? And I'm looking around. I'm like, well, I mean, no, you've got a pretty big yard here. I don't know. But I said, I guess not. And she goes, I'm so sorry. It's not for sale. And God just told me, just ask her. And I said, well, would you consider selling it? And she said, I do live in this big house by myself. And she said, I've thought about it before, but my husband had passed away a few years ago, and I'm just not ready to do that yet. So I said, oh, okay. And I mean, my heart just dropped because I just knew that I knew this was the home we were supposed to live in. And I turned around to walk away. I hope you're still following along. There's a point. I turned around to walk away, and she goes, you know what? You look so familiar to me. And I said, oh, I do. She goes, yeah, you just look so familiar. She said, are you sure we haven't met before? And I said, I'm sorry, we haven't. And she said, what's your last name? And I told her, I said, well, my last name's Yount, but I was a Dunham. And she said, no, I guess I don't. And then she stopped. She goes, now, wait a minute. She said, is your mom Candy Arnett? And I said, well, yeah, that is my mom. That was her maiden name. And she goes, oh, my gosh. She said, I went to school with your mom. And she just broke down and started crying. And I said, oh, my goodness. And I said, are you all right? She goes, your mom was the nicest human being I've ever met. She said, I was picked on in school, and I lived in a very abusive home, and your mom was the only friend that I had. It makes me tear up. The only friend I had growing up, and she always made me feel like I was important. And she said, I want you kids to come in my house right now. We're going to sit down and have some coffee. I said, oh, my goodness, okay. So we came in the house. We don't drink coffee, but we sat down. She had her coffee, and she shared with me just how what we're talking about today, how my mom had invested in this relationship with her when she was a child all through school. And by the time we left the house, she agreed to sell us the house. And that's the house that we're sitting in right now. And that's a long story about what happened after that, but she agreed to sell us the house, all because my mom chose to invest in a relationship. And I got to tell you, it's the greatest example I could give everyone here. You never know what your words mean to someone, what you actually can offer the world. And I just hope that that made sense. And I wanted to share that with you all because, he challenges us here at the end. Take a quick self-assessment. Do you currently give more than you expect to get, or are you preoccupied with waiting for people to do things to meet your needs or expectations? Just really think about that. Be intentional about investing more into your relationships than you withdraw. And I'll leave you with Jaimie and I's wedding song. It's by a rock group called Tesla. It's called What You Give. And the chorus of that is, it's not what you got, it's what you give. It's not the life you choose, it's the life you live. And I hope that you will all choose to live a life investing in your relationships. So we'll open up the lines and say goodbye.
Absolutely amazing. So let me unmute, stop the record. Maybe not.